Whenever the great law court sits in the height of heaven of Arabat, only the great princes who are called Yahweh by the name of the Holy One, blessed be He, are permitted to speak. How many princes are there? There are 72 princes of kingdoms in the world, not counting the prince of the world, who speaks in favor of the world before the Holy One. Blessed be He, every day at the hour when the book is opened, in which every deed in the world is recorded as it is written. A court was held, and the books were opened. When the Holy One, blessed be He, sits on the throne of judgment, justice stands on His right hand, mercy is on His left. The truth stands directly facing Him. When a man enters His presence for judgment, a staff, as it were, extends toward him from the splendor of mercy and takes up a position in front of him. At once the man falls prostrate, and all the angels of destruction fear and shrink from him, as it is written, His throne is established through mercy, and He sits upon it in truth. When the Holy One, blessed be He, opens the book in half of which is fire and half flame, the angels of destruction go forth from His presence moment by moment to execute judgment against the wicked, with the unsheathed sword of God, the brilliance of which flashes like lightning and passes through the world from end to end, as it is written, For by fire the Lord will execute judgment, and by His sword against all mankind. All the inhabitants of the world are fearful before Him when they see His sword sharpened and gleaming like lightning from one end of the world to the other, and rays and sparks shooting from it as big as the stars of heaven. And it is written, When I have sharpened the lightning of my sword. When the Holy One, blessed be He, sits on the throne of judgment, the angels of mercy stand on His right, the angels of peace stand on His left, and the angels of destruction stand facing Him. The scribe stands below Him, and the scribe stands above Him. Glorious seraphim surround the throne on its four sides with walls of lightning, and the ophim surround them like torches, round the throne of glory. Then clouds of fire and clouds of flame are round about them, to the right and to the left. Beneath them the holy creatures bear up the throne of glory, each with 3 fingers, and the height of each finger is 8,766 parasangs. From under the feet of the holy creatures 7 rivers of fire flow out. The breadth of each river is 365,000 parasangs. Its depth is 248,000 myriads of parasangs. Its length cannot be reckoned or measured. Each river flows round in an arc through the 4 quarters of heaven of Arabat, and each one of them falls into Maon, and from Maon it descends to Zebul, from Zebul to Sehakim, from Sehakim to Rakia, from Rakia to Samayim. From Samayim it falls on the heads of the wicked in Gehinnom, as it is written, Now a storm of the Lord breaks, a tempest whirls, it bursts over the head of the wicked. The hooves of the creatures are encircled by 7 clouds of burning coal. The clouds of burning coal are encircled by 7 walls of flame. The 7 walls of flame are encircled by 7 walls of firebrands. The 7 walls of firebrands are encircled by 7 walls of hailstones. The 7 walls of hailstones are encircled by stones of hail. The stones of hail are encircled by stones of hurricane blasts. The stones of hurricane blasts are encircled by environs of flame. The environs of flame are encircled by the upper chambers of storm wind. The upper chambers of storm wind are encircled by fire and water. Fire and water are encircled by those who say, Holy. Those who say, Holy are encircled by those who say, Blessed. Those who say, Blessed are encircled by bright clouds. The bright clouds are encircled by coals of juniper. The coals of juniper are encircled by 1,000 camps of fire, and myriads of hosts of flame. And between each lamp and each host a cloud stands, so that they should not burn each other with fire. The Holy One, blessed be He, has 496,000 myriads of camps in the height of heaven of Arabat, and in each camp are 496,000 angels. Every angel is as the great sea in height, and the appearance of their faces is like lightning. Their eyes are like torches of fire, their arms and feet like burnished bronze, and the roar of their voices when they speak is as the sound of a multitude. They all stand before the throne of glory in 4 rows, and mighty princes stand at the head of each row. Some of them say, Holy, and some of them say, Blessed. Some run on missions, and some stand and serve, as it is written. 1,000,000 waited on Him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before Him. A court was held, and the books were opened. When the time comes to say, Holy, the storm wind first goes out from the presence of the Holy One, blessed be He, and falls on the camps of the Shekinah, and great storm arises among them, as it is written, Now a storm of the Lord breaks, a tempest whirls. Thereupon 1,000,000 of them become sparks, 1,000,000 firebrands, 1,000,000 glowing coals, 1,000,000 flames, 1,000,000 males, 1,000,000 females, 1,000,000 winds, 1,000,000 blazing fires, 1,000,000 flames, 1,000,000 sparks, 1,000,000 hasmalum of light, until they accept the yoke of the kingdom of the high and exalted one who created them all, in dread, in fear, in awe, with shuddering, quaking, anguish, terror, and trembling. Then they return to their original state. Thus the fear of their king is kept before them every hour, so that they should set their hearts to recite the song every hour, as it is written. One called to another and said, when the ministering angels desire to recite the song, the river of fire rises, and its fires increase in strength 1,000,000 and a myriad of myriads of times. And it flows out from beneath the throne of glory between the camps of ministering angels and cohorts of Arabite. All the ministering angels first go down into the river of fire and bathe themselves in the fire of the river of fire, and dip their tongues and their mouths 7 times in the river of fire. And afterward they get out and don garments of hasmal, and they stand in 4 rows over against the throne of glory in every heaven. 4 chariots of the Shekinah stand in the 7 palaces, and before each of them stand 4 camps of the Shekinah. Between one camp and another a river of fire flows along. Between one river and another is a circle of bright clouds, and between each cloud pillars of sulfur stand fixed. Between one pillar and another stands a circle of fiery wheels. Between one wheel and another is a circle of tongues of flame. Between one tongue and another is a circle of treasuries of lightning. Behind the treasuries of lightning is a circle of hurricane blasts. Behind the hurricane blasts is a circle of storehouses of storm. Behind the storehouses of storm is a circle of winds, thunderclaps, thunders, and sparks. Behind the sparks is a circle of tremors. When the ministering angels utter the holy, all the pillars of the heavens and their bases shake, and the gates of the palaces of the heaven of Arabat quiver. The foundations of the earth and the Sehakim shudder. The chambers of Ma'un and the chambers of Makan writhe, and all the orders of Rakia, the constellations and the stars, are alarmed. The orb of the sun and the orb of the moon hurry from their paths in flight, and running backwards 12,000 parasangs seek to fling themselves from heaven, because of the thunder of their voices and the sparks and lightning's flashes that shoot out from their mouths, as it is written. Your thunder crashed and as it rolled. Your lightning lit up the world. The earth shuddered and quaked. But the prince of the world calls to them and says, stay at rest in your places. Be not afraid, because the ministering angels recite this song before the Holy One. Blessed be he, as it is written. When all the stars of the morning were singing with joy, and the sons of God in chorus were chanting praise. When the ministering angels recite the holy, all the sacred names engraved with a pen of flame on the throne of glory fly off like eagles, with 16 wings, and encompass and surround the Holy One. Blessed be he on the 4 sides of the abode of his glorious Shekinah. The angels of the host, the fiery ministers, the opening of power, the cherub of the Shekinah, the holy creatures, the seraphim, the erulim, the tapsarim, the cohorts of flame, and the cohorts of devouring fire, the ranks of firebrand, the hosts of flame, the holy princes, crowned with crowns, robed with royalty, covered with glory, girded with beauty, girt with magnificence, girdled with majesty, fall prostrate 3 times and say, Blessed be the name of his glorious kingdom forever and ever. When the ministering angels say holy, according to its proper order before the Holy One, blessed be he, the ministers of his throne and the servants of his glory go out with great joy from under the throne of glory. Each of them has in his hands 1,000,000 and a myriad of myriads of starry crowns, like the brilliance of the morning star in appearance. They put them on the heads of the ministering angels and the great princes. Those that say holy receive 3 crowns, one for saying holy, one for saying holy, holy, and one for saying holy, 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 Yahweh of hosts. Whenever they do not recite the holy according to its proper order, devouring fire goes out from the little finger of the Holy One. Blessed be he. It falls upon their ranks and splits into 496,000 myriads of parts corresponding to the 4 camps of the ministering angels, and devours them at a stroke, as it is written. A fire precedes him as he goes, devouring all enemies around him. Then the Holy One, blessed be he, opens his mouth, and with one word creates new ones like them to take their place. Each of them stands in song before his throne of glory and recites, Holy, as it is written, Every morning they are renewed, and great is his faithfulness.